Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of English Cat. I am Emma, and I am so happy to be here with you today.
And I am David. Hello to all our wonderful listeners around the world. We have a really exciting and inspiring topic for today's episode. We are going to talk about dreams and goals.
Yes, David, this is one of my favorite topics because everyone has dreams, no matter how old they are or where they live. But before we dive in deep, let us talk about what these words actually mean. David, what is the difference between a dream and a goal for you?
That is a great question to start with, Emma. For me, a dream is something beautiful that you imagine in your mind. It is like a wish. It does not always have a plan. For example, when I was a child, I dreamed of flying to the moon. It was wonderful to think about, but I did not have a plan to become an astronaut.
That is so true. A dream is a big picture. It gives us happiness and inspiration, but a goal is different. A goal is a dream with a plan and a deadline. It is something you actively work toward every single day. For instance, if your dream is to speak English fluently, your goal might be to practice speaking for 20 minutes every morning.
Exactly. A goal is practical.
It requires action. You know, Emma, thinking about childhood dreams is always so much fun. What did you want to be when you were growing up?
Oh, I had so many dreams. When I was about 7 years old, I wanted to be a professional singer. I used to hold a hairbrush like a microphone and sing in front of my bedroom mirror. I thought I would travel the world and sing in huge theaters.
That is amazing, Emma. Can you still sing well today?
Not at all. My family always asked me to stop singing because it was too loud. Later, when I grew up, my dreams changed completely. I realized that I loved books and languages more than singing. So I dreamed of becoming a teacher and a writer.
It is completely normal for our dreams to change as we grow older and learn more about ourselves. When I was 10, I wanted to be a professional soccer player. I practiced every day after school. But then, when I went to university, I discovered that I really loved communication and media. That is how I ended up here on this podcast with you.
And I am very glad you did, David. Our listeners are lucky to have you. It is interesting how life changes us. Sometimes people feel sad because their childhood dreams did not come true. But I think it is important to remember that changing your mind is a sign of growth. We learn what we are truly good at and what makes us genuinely happy.
I agree completely. Our experiences shape us. A dream you have at 15 years old might not make you happy when you are 25. The important thing is to never stop dreaming, even if the dreams themselves change over time.
That is a beautiful way to put it, David. So, to our listeners, think about your own childhood dreams. What did you want to be? How have your dreams changed today?
Now that we understand what dreams are and how they change, let us look at the other side of the coin. Let us talk about goals. Why do you think setting goals is so important in life, Emma?
Well, David, I think goals give us direction. Without goals, life can feel like walking through a thick fog. You are moving, but you do not really know where you are going. When you set a goal, it is like turning on a bright light that shows you the exact path ahead. It helps you focus your energy on what truly matters to you.
That makes a lot of sense. It is like having a map for your life. I also think goals help us measure our progress. For example, if you say, I want to get fit, that is a nice idea, but it is hard to measure. But if you say, my goal is to walk 10,000 steps every day for the next month, you can easily check if you achieved it or not.
Definitely. And there are two main types of goals that we should talk about: short-term goals and long-term goals. A long-term goal is something you want to achieve far in the future, maybe in 1 year, 5 years, or even 10 years. For example, buying a house, getting a university degree, or moving to a new country.
Right. And short-term goals are the smaller steps that help you reach that big long-term goal. They are things you can do this week, this month, or today. If your long-term goal is to write a book in 1 year, your short-term goal might be to write 1 page every single day.
I love that example, David. It shows that big goals do not happen overnight. They are built piece by piece, day by day. Have you ever achieved a long-term goal that you were really proud of?
Yes, I have. A few years ago, my long-term goal was to run a marathon. It seemed completely impossible at first because I could not even run for 10 minutes without feeling exhausted. But I broke it down. My short-term goal for the first week was just to run for 5 minutes and walk for 5 minutes. Slowly, month after month, I increased the time. A year later, I crossed the finish line of a full marathon. It was one of the best moments of my life.
Wow, David, that is so inspiring. It really proves that consistency is the key to success. But let us be honest, setting and reaching goals is not always easy. People face many challenges along the way. What do you think is the biggest problem people have when trying to reach their goals?
I think many people try to do too much too fast. They get very excited at the beginning, so they set huge goals. For example, they say, I am going to study English for 4 hours every single day. But after 3 days, they get tired, they lose motivation, and then they stop completely. They give up because the goal was too difficult to maintain.
I agree. That is a very common trap. Another challenge is procrastination, which means delaying things that you need to do. It is so easy to say, I will start my project tomorrow, or I will go to the gym next week. But tomorrow never comes. We have to learn how to fight that feeling and just start, even if we do not feel like it.
That is very true, Emma. Starting is always the hardest part. Once you take the first step, the next steps become a little bit easier.
This brings us to a very important part of our conversation today. What happens when things go wrong? When we try to follow our dreams, we often face fear, failure, and self-doubt. David, have you ever felt afraid of failing?
Oh, absolutely, Emma, many times. I think fear of failure is something that everyone experiences. When I first decided to become a podcast host, I was terrified. I kept asking myself, what if people do not like my voice? What if I make mistakes? What if nobody listens? This self-doubt almost made me stop before I even started.
I understand that feeling completely. Self-doubt is like a small voice in your head that tells you that you are not good enough or that you cannot do something. It is very dangerous because it can stop us from trying new things. But we have to realize that failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is actually a part of success.
That is a great point. Every successful person you can think of has failed many times. Think about famous scientists, artists, or business leaders. They did not become successful on their first try. They failed, they learned from their mistakes, and they tried again.
Exactly. There is a famous story about the person who invented the light bulb, Thomas Edison. People say he tried thousands of times before he finally made a working light bulb. When someone asked him how it felt to fail so many times, he said he did not fail. He just found thousands of ways that did not work.
I love that story. It is all about how you look at the situation. If you see a mistake as a sign that you should give up, then you fail. But if you see a mistake as a lesson that teaches you how to do better next time, then you are actually moving closer to your dream.
Yes, persistence is everything. Persistence means that you keep going, even when things are difficult, even when you want to quit. It is like climbing a high mountain. Sometimes the weather is bad, your legs hurt, and you feel tired. But if you keep taking one small step after another, you will eventually reach the top and see the beautiful view.
That is so true. I want to tell our listeners a short story about a friend of mine. Her name is Sarah. Sarah always dreamed of opening her own small bakery. She loved baking cakes and cookies, but she did not have much money,
and she did not know anything about running a business. Her first attempt failed completely because she lost money and could not pay the rent for the shop.
Oh, that must have been heartbreaking for her. Did she give up?
No, she did not. She was very sad for a few weeks, of course, but then she started analyzing what went wrong. She realized she needed to learn more about business and marketing, so she took a free online course, saved some money from a part-time job, and 2 years later, she opened a smaller bakery online. Today, her business is very successful, and she delivers cakes all over the city.
That is a wonderful story, David. It shows that a setback is not the end of the road. It is just a detour. Sarah used her failure as a tool to become smarter and stronger.
Exactly. So if any of our listeners are feeling discouraged right now because something did not work out, please do not give up. It is just a part of the journey. Keep trying, keep learning, and keep moving forward.
Now, let us look forward into the future. We have talked about the past and the present, but what about the years to come? David, do you still have big dreams and ambitions for your future?
Of course I do, Emma. I think as long as we are alive, we should always have something to look forward to. One of my big dreams for the future is to travel around the world and meet our podcast listeners in person. I want to visit different countries, learn about their cultures, and see how our podcast is helping people in real life. What about you, Emma?
That is a beautiful dream, David. I would love to join you on that trip. For me, my future dream is to write a book. I want to write a story that inspires people to follow their hearts and never give up on themselves. It is a big ambition, and sometimes it feels a little bit scary, but it makes me feel excited about the future.
That sounds like a wonderful book, Emma. I will definitely be the first person to buy it and read it. But when we talk about big dreams, like writing a book or traveling the world, we also need to balance them with realistic daily goals. How do you find that balance?
It is all about breaking the big dream into small, manageable actions. If I just think about writing a 300-page book, I feel overwhelmed. But if I tell myself to write just 200 words today, that feels realistic and possible. It is about dreaming big, but acting small.
Dream big, but act small. I really like that phrase. It reminds me that we do not need to change our whole life in one day. We just need to make small, positive choices every day.
Yes, and that brings us to the topic of motivation. Motivation is like fuel for a car. At the beginning of a journey, your tank is full and you are driving fast. But after a while, the fuel starts to run out. How do you keep your motivation high when you are feeling tired or bored?
For me, the best way to stay motivated is to remember my why. Why did I start this journey in the first place? If I am training for a run and I feel tired, I remind myself how happy and healthy I will feel when I finish. If you are learning English and you feel frustrated, remind yourself why you started. Is it to get a better job? To travel? To make new friends? Remembering your reason gives you a fresh burst of energy.
That is excellent advice, David. Another tip I have is to celebrate small victories. You do not have to wait until you reach the final destination to be happy. If you learn 10 new English words today, celebrate that. If you understand a difficult audio clip, feel proud of yourself. These small celebrations make the journey enjoyable.
I agree completely. We should be kind to ourselves. Learning and growing takes time, and every step forward is a victory.
Well, we are coming to the end of our episode today. We have talked about how dreams can change, why goals give us direction, how to handle failure with persistence, and how to create a brighter future through small daily actions.
It has been a truly wonderful conversation, Emma. I feel so inspired just talking about these things with you. I hope our listeners feel the same way.
I hope so too, David. To everyone listening out there, remember that your dreams are valuable. No matter where you are starting from or how many mistakes you have made in the past, you have the power to shape your own future.
Yes, you really do. And remember that learning a language like English is a beautiful journey. It takes time, patience, and effort, but every single day you spend listening, practicing, and studying brings you closer to your goals. You are doing a fantastic job just by being here and listening to us today.
Absolutely. Keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep pursuing your dreams. You have the potential to achieve incredible things. Thank you so much for spending this time with us on English Cat.
Thank you, everyone. We love having you with us. Do not forget to practice a little bit of English every day, stay positive, and look forward to the future with a smile. Until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. Take care and keep dreaming.